Thanks for joining us Behind the Frontline, a podcast providing timeless solutions to everyday workforce and workplace challenges. Frontline Training Solutions is an express employment professionals company, strategically placed between the workplace and the workforce with professionals standing by, ready to combat your unique challenges. Learn more about what we do at frontlineon.com. Thanks for tuning in to this special segment of Behind the Frontline, where we went to Denver, Colorado to the Express Employment Professionals International Leadership Conference, and we sat down with some of the top staffing leaders around the country and asked them questions about what challenges they are seeing in the workplace and the workforce, and their thoughts about how companies can become and stay employers of choice. Like anything you hear and want to know more, contact us at frontlineon.com or reach out to your local Express Employment Professionals near you. Hey again, we are sitting here with Sam Myers, who is the manager of office support for the Franklin, Tennessee and the Murfreesboro, Tennessee offices. So Sam, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. So Sam, we're asking a few questions.
Yeah.
All right. We'd love your input on these questions. And with the companies in your area, specifically the Murfreesboro and the Franklin, Tennessee area, what are you seeing as the biggest challenges within the workplace and the workforce?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And it's very... it's kind of telling of the whole environment that we're in, and it really is. I think it kind of all pivots from retention, being able to hold on to the good people, being able to attract the good people,
right?
Really just that full, really focusing on, you're going to invest time, you're going to invest resources in training these folks, and then only at a certain point do they ever actually start to begin to add value. So not only are you spending money, but also by the time you get them to the point where they're actually effective enough, can you keep them that long?
Yeah.
That's
so we've kind of come into, we hear about that, and we're, almost spectators on a lot of these larger companies that, they're having that issue. So.
Right. Yeah, that's so good. Closing that revolving door and trying to engage and retain employees. It kind of brings up the question of, what creative solutions have you seen offered, or maybe you guys are offering to just kind of help, combat some of those challenges you just listed?
Yeah, so there's a lot of old, tried and true sort of approaches to it, and really, if the old tried and true was working, we probably wouldn't be in this issue that we're in.
Right.
But things get thrown out. They're tried. They're maybe utilized for a couple weeks, a couple months. Maybe sometimes certain initiatives last a whole year. But people are throwing all sorts of ideas out. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing Employee of the Month. We're seeing a little bit of how can we give employees more flexibility? How can we give them more? The time that they've spent at work, how can we make that more enjoyable? With, the other side of it, how do we get them to work, but also enjoy work?
Yeah.
So there's been, really, really more talk than, people's ability to really be, they can put their finger on the issue, but when it comes to, okay, this is an issue, now how do we fix it? It's kind of just like blindly throwing arrows at a dartboard a little bit.
Yeah.
Just hoping to see, maybe something works. And a lot of the times it's, hey, let's just throw more money. Or, yes, I have this, maybe even the issue of, hey, I've got a supervisor who, is not fully trained enough to really be able to manage a team well. We hear a lot of, especially in our exit interviews, like, hey, why did you move on from that position? What wasn't right for you to make this a long-term opportunity for you? What didn't retain you with this company? And we're hearing a lot of, I had a horrible manager, and because of that, I'm leaving. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well, we've even had it to where, a manager was fired a week after that associate quit because, the higher-ups actually started to hear a little bit more about what's actually happening on that front line, on those first level management. So we've been hearing a lot of that, and how companies are really more kind of going after understanding what's happening on that first line of management, and how we can train them and get them ready to go.
Yeah, really develop that frontline leader, because they have such a huge influence, right?
For sure.
And the other thing that's really interesting too about the whole issue of flexibility, for instance, is when an organization or company figures it out or tries something new, seems like word spreads, right? And maybe they have a little bit of an edge, but people have options right now, right?
Right.
And so it's like, I'm going to go try that. I'm going to go try that. And how do you create an environment where people stay? I like to say people are not your employees until they decide to stay. And it's like, could that be 3 months, 6 months? Who knows? A year?
Yeah.
So you got to keep trying, I guess.
Right. Oh, that's so good. And it's so important for companies to become employers of choice. So, Sam, how do you define what an employer of choice is?
An employer of choice. Express Employment Professionals in Murfreesboro, Tennessee is absolutely an employer of choice. Shameless plug
Nice
there.
plug.
Secondary, Franklin, Tennessee. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, we strive to be that. But, describing an employer of choice is when I have an associate that comes in the front door and they're looking for a work opportunity, we always ask, where do you want to work? And I think that it's so valuable to be an employer of choice where it's not necessarily I need to see an advertisement. I need to see, even a job opportunity available. The power of being a business that kids in elementary school, middle school, high school, they're like, man, I want to work there.
Yeah.
The power of that. I mean, you can just about build retention before you even hire somebody just based off of the image of the company.
That's so good. So, how are you helping employers in your area become and stay these employers of choice where these people coming in want to work there?
Yeah. So I think that really kind of going back to the exit interview as well, really, really fully understanding, it's not really our goal to just throw people into work and just hope that they stick. So we're really trying to partner with job seekers so that we can find them these long-term opportunities, get them hired on after the evaluation period, all of these different things. And when we get the chance to sit down with people that, hey, the process didn't work. And for whatever reason, whether, we dropped the ball, whether, the company, what they were doing wasn't necessarily what this associate was looking for. Well, either way, we really need to put our finger on it. So the way that we really like to assist these companies that are, hopefully everybody's goal is to be, an employer of choice. So as our partnership continues with our clients, we really like to give them that feedback from that exit interview. Like, hey, I'm hearing this, and I've heard it more than one time. So I want to give you this. It's actionable. You can do things with this information, but at some point, you really have to kind of, we'll pass the ball to our clients, and how far they go down the field is kind of up to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that varies by client.
Yeah. So thinking about, the talent crisis that we're in right now and how important it is for these companies to become employers of choice, would you say that's your best advice for companies is to focus on the exit interview and apply what you've learned, or is there something else you think you'd share?
Yeah, so I think that it's key to always be looking for ways to improve. And once you look for a way to improve and you find an option that, hey, we really want to try this, if you're not measuring it, if you have no idea what's really happening at the end, you create this beautiful entryway to this house of retention, but the back door is wide open and is drafty. Okay, so if you're not if you're not having somebody at that back door to ask, hey, why are you leaving? Especially the ability of an associate, or really in this case a past associate, their ability to tell the truth is way stronger than going into your team in the lunchroom and asking, hey, what's wrong?
It's true. Yeah.
And a manager's not going to be able to get any actual honest feedback.
Yeah.
So we have the opportunity to be this third party that's like, hey, this is what I'm hearing. I'm going to collect this for you. And if a company doesn't have that in place, they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah. And they're not seeing it, and they still then, if they do see it, they need to be accountable to take action, right? That's the next step, but they got to see it first. I love that.
Right. No, that's great. Thank you so much, Sam, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for stopping by.
For sure.
Awesome.